It's Tony T here from Tony'sPicks.com with our college football pick show. This is week 2, part 1. We'll have 10 games here from the Saturday card. We have 15 games this week with FBS versus FBS, and we do them in parts here. For more free pick videos, be sure to subscribe to our channel. Lots of free picks on our channel delivered by myself, as well as our team of cappers here at Tony'sPicks.com. Make it a great channel to subscribe to. Give us a like, a thumbs up. We greatly appreciate it. It really helps us build up our audience, and if you want to support us even more, hit that join button, become a channel member, get early access to my videos, and a way to support us for the work that we put into this channel. If you are looking for cappers, you may apply. Send us an email, or you can apply it with a live audition on our morning show. Then visit our site, Tony'sPicks.com. We're a multi-capper site showcasing top performers in our industry. Click the link to the hot cappers, get signed up to our long-term passes. You see our top performers up here for the week here. It's like Sean here for the year, I should say. Mills, yours truly up there on the leaderboards. Latest print search on the page with best bets and more. We will be locked and loaded for this card here on Tuesday. Remember, all of our one-day passes are profit guaranteed. They must turn a profit amount purchased will be credited back to your account for site rights. That's profit guaranteed. And then our promo code TonyT at checkout will knock off that 15%. The link's in the description to get signed up. All right, so let's go ahead. Let's get this one underway. FIU and Penn State for Saturday. FIU finished 4-8 in 2024. Willie Simmons enters his first year with the school, which returns 6 starters. FIU struggled offensively in 2024. They averaged 25 points per game, only 3.6 yards per rush. They had efficiency in the passing game, though, 7.9 yards per pass attempt. On defense, they defend the pass while holding foes to 5.9 yards per pass attempt, along with 15 points per game. Penn State comes off a 46-11 home victory against an inexperienced Nevada team. A big game for returning quarterback Drew Eller, who went 22-26 for 217 yards. Even his backup saw time throwing 9 passes. FIU blew out FCS Bethune here 42-9 at home. Kalen Jenkins enters his third season as starting quarterback for the Golden Panthers. Jenkins completed 62% of his passes last year with 8.4 yards per pass attempt and not really a threat to run. Last week, he was 18 of 30 for 187 yards and 2 rushing touchdowns. The Lions couldn't cover a big number last week, and this week they face an inexperienced quarterback with downfield ability, so pick here will be on FIU at plus 42. Kent and Texas Tech here for Saturday. Kent went 0-12 last year. Mark Carney enters his first season with the school that returned 6 starters from last year. Kent was near the bottom of college football in both scoring offense and defense. Their quarterbacks combined for 45% completions, while on defense allowed 46 points per game, 8.7 yards per pass attempt. Golden Flashes rushed for 2.3 yards a carry. They come off a 21-17 home victory to FCS Merrimack. Texas Tech went 8-5 a year ago for head coach Joey McGuire, who is entering his 4th season. The team returns 21 starters. They had tons of NIL money to spend. Red Raiders finished 4th in scoring offense last year, 36 points per game. This was a high-volume pass attack that threw for 290 yards a game. Defense needs much improvement as they allow 34 points per game. Opponents rushed for 4.8 yards a carry against the Red Raiders with 8.3 yards per pass attempt. Texas Tech comes off a 67-7 home victory to FCS Arkansas Pine Bluff. New Mexico informed transfer C.J. Montez started for Kent State, went 6 of 9 for 91 yards and a touchdown. Baron Morton is dealing with muscle soreness early in the week. He went 16 of 18 for 201 yards and 4 touchdowns in that win for Texas Tech. He has seen significant action in the past 2 seasons, with last year averaging 7.2 yards per pass attempt. His backup Will Hammond, who saw work last year as a freshman, hit 61% of his passes, 8.3 yards per pass attempt. Kent State just has too much to fix and is overmatched here. The Red Raiders experience and offensive ability, the key here. So we're going to lay it here with Texas Tech minus 48. All right, next game will be Virginia NC State. We'll get the graphic up for you here in just a second. We're kind of going through all the a lot of nooners here. All right, we got to go back a little bit. So ACC battle coming up between Virginia and NC State. Just give us a little second here while we find the game, but we have a lot of games to go through here. Just a second. Sorry for the delay. Let's get to Virginia and NC State. Here we go. Virginia and NC State going off here on Saturday. Virginia comes off a 48-7 home victory at Coastal Carolina. Cavaliers put up 454 yards. Chandler Morris, the North Texas transfer, hit 19-27 passes for 264 yards and 2 touchdowns. He rushed for 50 yards. NC State 1-0 with their 24-17 home victory to East Carolina. NC State ran poorly but got good quarterback performance with C.J. Bailey going 24-34 for 318 yards with a touchdown and pick. He had a rushing touchdown. On defense, they allowed 383 yards passing on 45 attempts. Virginia will be a high-volume passing team behind their North Texas transfer in Morris. The Cavs ran 78 plays on offense last week. Efficient passing from both sides and NC State pass defense are concerned. Cavs 5-1 in the over on the road against the ACC. Pick here will be on Virginia and NC State over 54. Okay, next up we will have San Jose State and Texas here. We'll get that game up for you in just a second. What a disappointment for San Jose State. Were they looking ahead to this game? We'll see. Because that offense was not very good last week when they needed them to score points. So let's get to it here in just a second. Maybe I got to go. Yeah, here we go. San Jose State and Texas for Saturday. San Jose State fell to 0-1 after a 16-14 home defeat to Central Michigan. Spartans offense produced 483 yards, rushed for only 3.1 yards a carry. They allowed 236 yards rushing to Chippewas on 51 carries. Walter Eggett, 24-43 passing for 308 yards with 2 touchdowns and 2 picks. Texas 0-1 after a 14-7 road defeat at Ohio State. Longhorns defense deserved better as they held the Buckeyes to 193 yards, 77 rushing on 34 carries. Arch Manning, though, 17 of 30 for 170 yards with a touchdown and a pick. Accuracy was an issue for the Spartans last season, with Eggett completing 57% of his passes. With their speed, the Longhorns could put distance on the scoreboard here. The Spartans' run defense a massive concern here to cover. Longhorns team come off a high-profile defeat, 3 turnovers to the Spartans at home against a MAC team is bothersome facing this really good Texas defense. Pick here, Texas late at 36. All right, next up we'll have Liberty and Jacksonville State. So we'll get to that game here in just a second. Liberty and Jacksonville State. Just a second as we go through these games. Here we go. Liberty and Jacksonville State. This one going off on Saturday. Liberty finished 8-4 last year for head coach Jamie Chadwell in his 4th season. The Flames returned 14 starters from last year. Liberty was a high-volume running team that rushed for 249 yards and gained 5.6 yards per attempt. The passing game inefficient, with 50% completions, 6.7 yards per pass attempt. Liberty defended well last year, holding teams to 23 points per game, 59% completion rate. They're coming off a 28-7 home victory to FCS Maine. Jacksonville State drops 0-1, a 17-10 road defeat to UCF. Gamecocks rushed for 165 yards. That was 4.2 yards a carry. They held the Knights' run game in check, but did give up 314 yards passing on 33 attempts. Gavin Wimsatt, 15-29 passing for 139 yards with a pick and an inefficient performance there. Ethan Vasco, transferred from Coastal Carolina, will be the Liberty quarterback. Last year, he completed 55% of his passes with 7.8 yards per pass attempt. Liberty allowed 185 yards rushing for 6 yards a carry against their FCS opponent. Though the Gamecocks had success running the football in their opener, their defense stymied the UCF offense. Jacksonville State is 10-13 of the spread in their past 13 at home. Pick here Jacksonville State plus the points here, plus the 6 points. All right, next up we'll have Central Michigan and Pitt here. These early window games. Just a second here. Pittsburgh going to face an FBS opponent finally after blowing out their smaller conference foe last week. Here we go. Central Michigan and Pittsburgh for Saturday. All right, we got Pittsburgh hosting this one. Central Michigan 1-0 coming off a 16-14 road win to San Jose State. Chippewas utilized the run game pretty well. 236 rushing on 51 carries. On defense, they limited the Spartans here run game, but did give up 308 yards passing on 45 attempts. Joe Labus was inefficient at quarterback here, 5-10 passing for 56 yards. Pitt went 7-6 last year for head coach Pat Narduzzi, who was in his 11th season. The Panthers returned 16 starters from last year. Pitt's offense was not efficient last year, 3.9 yards per rush, 60% completion rate for 6.7 yards per pass attempt. On defense, they held opponents to 3.2 yards a carry, with 266 yards passing for 7.2 yards per pass attempt. They are coming off a 61-9 home victory against FCS Duquesne. Eli Holstein started as a redshirt freshman for the Panthers last year and completed 62% of his passes with 7.7 yards per pass attempt. In his first 3 games last year, he threw for over 300 yards in 4 of his first 5 games last year. Lots of travel to start the year for the Chippewas. Panthers' speed and receiver strength the key in this one. We're going to take Pittsburgh here minus 21.5. All right, next up we'll have the little rivalry between Iowa and Iowa State here. Of course, Iowa State played 2 weeks ago in their opener against in Ireland. Let's go. Here we go. Iowa and Iowa State for Saturday. Iowa went 8-5 last year for head coach Kirk Ferentz. They returned 11 starters from last season. The Hawkeyes last year changed their offensive coordinator and showed improvement as they rushed for 5.1 yards a carry. They took care of the football. Passing attack was inefficient, though. Defensively, the Hawkeyes held opponents to 19 points per game, 3.9 yards per rush, 6.4 yards per pass attempt. They opened with a 34-7 home victory against FCS Albany. Iowa State 1-1 after a 55-7 home victory to FCS South Dakota. They opened the year with a 24-21 victory against Kansas State 2 weeks ago in Ireland. In rainy conditions, the Cyclones put up 213 yards with 2.8 yards per rush. Rocco Beck 14-28 passing for 183 yards and 2 touchdowns. Iowa will start Mark Gronowski here at quarterback. South Dakota State quarterback in 4 seasons. The FCS completed just over 63% of his passes, 8.7 yards per pass attempt, though he was not efficient last week against his FCS opponent, going 8-15 for 44 yards. This prefer the experience of Beck under center against the tougher competition he's faced in his career. The pick here will be Iowa State minus the 3. Okay, next up we've got the UConn Syracuse game. That'll be next up. Get to it hopefully in a little bit here, guys. Just this little second. Here we go. UConn and Syracuse going off here on Saturday. UConn went 9-4 last year for head coach Jim Mora in his 4th season. The team returns 11 starters. The ground game led the offense here with 193 yards rushing, nearly 5 yards per attempt. Quarterback play was inaccurate and inefficient. The Huskies held opponents to 23 points per game. They were great defensively on 3rd down, allowed just 3.9 yards per rush, 6.5 yards per pass attempt. They come off a 59-13 home victory to FCS Central Connecticut State. Syracuse coming off the 45-26 road defeat to Tennessee. The Orange gained 377 yards, but rushed 103 yards on 44 carries. Syracuse gave up 493 yards to the Vols as they were poor against the run and pass. Steve Angeli, 23 of 40 passes for 274 yards with a touchdown and a pick. He took 5 sacks. Joe Fagnano, last year for UConn, completed 58% of his passes, 7.9 yards per pass attempt. He was efficient last week in the win against FCS foe. And Jalili was efficient in the backup role at Notre Dame the past 2 seasons. This is a major step down in class for the Orange here. Syracuse was able to gain yards through the air against Tennessee. The pick here will be on Syracuse here minus 7. All right, next up we have Baylor and SMU will be our next one here for you. We'll get to that one just a second. Of course, SMU, a playoff team from last year. And with a lot of NIL money facing a Baylor team coming off that loss to Auburn. And, man, Auburn just crushed them on the ground. That was the thing there. We'll see what, Baylor, again, last year getting off to that really poor start. I don't think they want to – it's going to be tough. It might be a replay of last year. So let's see when we get to the game. There are a lot of noon years, guys, so just give it a second. Here we go. Baylor and SMU going off here on Saturday. Baylor fell to 0-1 after a 38-24 home defeat to Auburn. The Bears posted 483 yards with only 64 rushing yards on 24 carries. They were crushed by the Auburn's ground game. Auburn ran the football for 307 yards on 52 carries. Missouri Robertson here for Baylor, 27-48 passing for 419 yards and 3 touchdowns. SMU won 11-3 last year for head coach Rhett Lashley in his 4th season. A team returns 12 starters from their playoff team. SMU offense put up 35 points per game, with the run game producing just over 4 yards a carry. The passing game was efficient. Defensively, the Mustangs held opponents to 3 yards per carry, 57% completion rate. They come off a 42-13 home victory to FCS East Texas A&M. Kevin Jennings last year completed 65% of his passes with 8.5 yards per pass attempt. SMU offensive line is really good. The team has lots of NLI money to spend here. Baylor defense is a concern, though. The pick here will be SMU -3. All right, next up, we will get you the Illinois and Duke game. So we're going to get through the games here for you guys. Illinois on a tough road spot here, but Duke, team that's performed very well for Manny Diaz, the coach that took over last year for Duke, made him respectable. And we'll see how this matchups here with this Luke Altmaier, the returning quarterback here for Illinois. We'll see how he does against this Duke defense. Let's see if we get to the game here. I'm just sad about this, guys. Just a lot of noon games today. We got to get our graphics set. Here we go. Illinois and Duke going off here on Saturday. Illinois went 10-3 last year for head coach Brett Bielema in his 5th season. Find Illinois returned 19 starters from a year ago. Defensively, they held opponents at 24 points per game, as they held opponents to just over 59% completion rate, 6.7 yards per pass attempt. On offense, they rushed for 4.3 yards a carry with 7.7 yards per pass attempt. They come off a 52-3 home victory against Western Illinois. Duke went 9-4 in 2024 for head coach Matt Diaz in his 2nd year with the program. Their offensive numbers are not that impressive from last year. They rushed for 3.2 yards a carry and only 6.8 yards per pass attempt. Defense was solid here, holding teams at 4 yards a carry, 57% completions, 6.7 yards per pass attempt. Duke defeated FCS Elon last week, 45-17. Luke Altmaier returns under center for Illinois. Last year, he completed 61% of his passes with 7.8 yards per pass attempt. He was efficient in the opener. Darren Mensah, a Tulane transfer, starts at quarterback here for Duke. Mensah last year completed 66% of his passes, 9.5 yards per pass attempt. But Illinois' defense and experience gives them the edge in this game. The Blue Devils' rush attack is a concern. Pick here will be on Illinois -3. For more free pick videos, be sure to subscribe to our channel. Lots of free picks on our channel delivered by myself, as well as our team of cappers here at TonySpeaks.com, making it a great channel to subscribe to. Give us a like and thumbs up. We greatly appreciate it. It really helps us build up our audience. And if that supports us even more, then hit that join button, become a channel member, get early access to my videos, as well as a way to support us for the work that we put into the channel. We go live every day, 9:30 a.m. Eastern Time. It is the Tony Picks Morning Show. Cappers join me, giving out live free picks for you from the major games. The live chat's open, so you guys can interact with us with the questions, comments, and more. Check us out on that live show. If you are looking for cappers, you can apply. Send us an email. The form's on the homepage, or you can apply with a live audition on our morning show. Then visit our site, TonySpeaks.com. We're a multi-capper site showcasing our top performers. Pick the link to the hot cappers. You see them up there, guys like Sean Hinks for the year, Mills, yours truly up there, doing up on the leaderboards. El Ninos with a big day. Latest great picks here. Set the page with best bets and more. We will be locked and loaded for this card here on Monday. Remember all of our Tuesday, I should say. Remember all of our one-day passes are profit guarantee. They must earn a profit amount purchased. Will be credited back to your capper site credits. That's profit guarantee. So get signed up. Then our promo code at TonyT at checkout knocks off that 15%. The link's in the description to get signed up. That's going to do for now. I'm Tony T. We'll talk with you guys later.